Alright, so solve for h. That means we want to get h by itself over here. So how do I get rid of these two guys? Divide. Since they're multiplied, you divide them. What happens is those multiplied values cancel out with the divided values. But to keep it equal, you have to do the same thing on this side. So h equals a over 1/2 b. A slightly, and I would accept that, a slightly better way to write this. You guys know what dividing by 1/2 is like? Multiplying by 2. So multiplying by 2 would look like the top would have the 2. That's a nicer way to write it, but I would accept this way. Both of them are okay. Alright. Bo, do you know what to do for number 2? So we're going for, we want to get w by itself.
So would you subtract 2?
You would subtract, okay, this 2, how is this 2 related to the w?
Aren't they like multiplied?
They're multiplied. So we're going to have to divide that. But do we, normally when we're solving equations, do we get rid of the, do we divide first or do we get rid of the plus or minus first?
Plus minus.
Right. So this is added to this. So how do I get rid of this guy? Subtract. He's added to this. So yeah, you would subtract 2L. Yeah, and the order matters. It's kind of the, when you're doing algebra, you're actually doing the order of operations in reverse. It's basically what's happening. And then you would divide the 2, yes. I just rewrote it a little bit over there. Kenton, how about number 3? How are all these things connected to the h? If they're written right next to it, what does that mean? Yes, and how do we get rid of multiply? Divide. Since they're all multiplied, you can just divide them all at once. Okay, you don't have to understand what it means, you can just divide it all away. That goes away. So it's just h equals t over 4 pi r squared. Alright. I guess I didn't put a tricky one of these on here. These are called proportions to equal ratios. Maybe I should have. But, oh, and what's the trick we use to solve these kinds? Cross multiply, yeah. So it would be 35 times x equals 20 times 60. There's an equals when you cross multiply. 35 times x equals 20 times 60. 20 times 60 is 1200. Oh, this is not going to come out very nice, is it?
Nope.
Well, think we did, on the homework, we did like fractions or decimals. Sometimes they even rounded it off. But yeah, you'd have to divide by 35. What did this come out as?
34.285714G.
Okay, let's say it's about 34.3. Usually we round it to like the tenths place. If they don't tell you where to round it, you can kind of make it up. Or you could use a fraction too, it's okay. So they said 34.28, blah, 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 and I turned that into, I rounded to the tenth place, 34.3. Is this one a mess too? Yeah. So this would be 52A equals 4 times 37. Oh, 120 plus 28. I bet the ones on the test are come out nicely, but I didn't really look. Is it 2.9? 2.8. Okay, it doesn't always round up. What was the digit after the 8?
4.
Okay, so 2.84, yeah, that would round. The 4 is not big enough. 2.84 is like $2.84 is closer to $2.80 than it is to $2.90. The 4 is not big enough to round up the 8. Okay, 6 and 7, potentially the easiest questions on the test, if you remember what to do. And there's kind of a hint the way the question is written. You divide. Unit rate means how many of these can I get for one of those? How many of these for 1 unit of that? So basically, yeah, you just do 360 divided by 6.
60.
Okay, yeah. If you went 360 miles in 6 hours, you're basically going 60 miles in 1 hour. 60 miles an hour. Or on this one, divide by 8, what does that come out to? 32. Okay, so if you get paid $256 in 8 hours, divide by 8,
32.
you're getting $32 an hour. That would be pretty good for you guys. Anybody got a job yet? No. Not a lot of people hiring freshmen, maybe Brahms. Maybe
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A hire freshmen.
Chick-fil-A hires pretty young.
How old do they have to be? 15?
I think it's 14.
14.
No, it's for
Oh, you can get the interview when you're
Oh,
14.
you better look at that customer.
You can start on your 15th birthday.
No. What?
Okay, I hope these are easy. Maybe, I don't know. Write an equation and solve. Round decimals to the hundredths. What's the hundredths mean?
Hundreds.
Hundredths with the TH.
Yeah.
The second place from
That's the second decimal place. And I will take a point off if you don't round correctly. Or round percents to the nearest whole percent. What do you think they mean by round to the nearest whole percent? Whole numbers are like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's just no decimals. So it basically means round to the ones place if it's a percent. Now, if the answer was like 0.345, that would be like 34.5%, which would round to 35%. That makes sense? So it's kind of the same as the hundredth place. Alright, so you need to know, what do I put for the what? What do I put for the is? What do I put for the of? What do I put for 24%? Devin, what do we put for the what?
wait,
say it wrong? Davin. Yeah, that's your letter. Is
Equals
24%,
0.24.
0.24 of means times. Okay, and then you just kind of look at it, see what to do. So the number is that times that. So you just do it. I don't think we're gonna have to round this one off. Oh, wait, maybe.
Do we have to turn it to a percent?
No. When do we turn it into a percent?
I don't know.
When it says what percent? What does that come out to? 321.6. Alright, what do I put for this one? 360, what do I put for is?
Equals
For what? What percent?
X.
Let's see. Of,
Times
and then the 18.
8.
Okay, then how would we solve for x there? Now, because we're trying to get x by itself, so how do I get rid of times 18? Divide by 18. Now, usually we write like 18x instead of x times 18, but okay. Somebody plug that in already?
It's 20. It's 2,000%.
Oh, 20, yeah. Okay, why is the final answer not 20? If you get this far, I'll give you most of the credit, but... Okay, because the question is, what percent? I think we had one of these on the homework. So what is 20 as a percent?
2,000.
2,000%, big. Well, yeah, 2,000%, that sounds really big. It just means 20 times as big. All right. See. So, Mallory, how should I write this one? Okay. 70% of what number is 42? And how would we solve? Yep. I don't know. All right.
Yeah.
Divide, yes. Divide by 0.7. Yeah, 60. And you might stop and say, does this make sense? Is 70% of 60, could that be 42? Yeah, 70% is most of this. Is 42 most of 60? Yeah, that sounds about right. All right, it's kind of the same directions, but it's just like little mini word problems. Just find the percent. To write the equation basically means show your work. Number 11. I didn't want to write married or jock. These aren't from the test, but they're very like the test. I don't know how many sophomores actually dressed up, but, so Hank, how would you do this one?
You do 9 equals 25p. You divide by 25.
Okay, that, I would just think of it as a fraction. 9 out of 25 students dressed up. How do we change a fraction into a divide? So if you plug in like 9 divided by 25, you get 0.36, which I could almost give you full credit for, but what percent is that?
36.
36%. Okay, number 12, 13. If you get any of these wrong, or didn't know it before we talk about it, those are the ones you should study. You should look at those again.
Okay. Mr. Jordan, do you think you could do a backflip?
No, I do not think so.
What's the really try it next?
What about?
You want me to try right now?
Yes, you got it.
What happens when I hit my head and pass out? What would we
No
do?
math.
Wow.
How about that?
Brian, I feel like I could if you showed me how.
I can do a roll.
A roll?
Yeah, I can roll. Atticus.
You should be very proud of that, Atticus. All right, number 12. Jonathan, what'd you write for your equation?
I did 0.89 times 27 equals X.
Yeah, whatever letter. 89% of the 27 gives you how many?
24.0.
Okay, now we're talking about people, so what should we probably do? We should probably round to the nearest person.
Or it was the 1800s.
Okay, by the way, if you didn't get something, I am recording it so you can go back. and look at it.
Yeah.
All right. Have you guys seen 13? It's kind of the same as 11, actually. So, Luke, how could we do that? 3 out of the 8 starters are seniors.
3 divided by 8.
3 divided by 8. It's the fraction 3 out of 8, and it's division 3 divided by 8.
And it's 37.5%.
All right, I'm floating up. Okay. Okay, we're not talking about people here, we're talking about percentage. 37.5%. Okay, 3 out of 8 people is 37.5% of the team. All right. We're talking about people here, but this is not people. Percentage just tells you like how much out of the total. Okay. How do we find percent increase or decrease? This is very important because there's a lot of them like this. Yes. Okay, shh, listen. Percent increase or decrease is percent change. So it's change divided by original. How do we find the change?
3
$3.60 minus $2.90.
You subtract. Yes. Whoops. It's changing by whatever the difference between those two is. 70 cents. Okay, that's the change. And the original is the first one. In this case, $2.90. Divide, and then you turn it to a percent. Anybody plug that in yet? $24.2. 24.1. Oh yeah, it says right there, round to 1/10 of a percent. Yeah, 24.1. Is that a hiccup? Atticus. How would we do 15? You guys know how many people live in Marlsville?
About 30,000.
I think it's like 35 or maybe 37. But it hasn't changed in like 50 years actually. Atticus, how would we find the population percent increase or whatever? Huh? Okay, you subtract to find the change. You just do the big one minus the small one. So it'd be like 2,500. Put it over here. 2,500 people
That's a 3.
out of what we put on the bottom.
3,500.
Right, the original. Change divided by the original, 35,000. What'd we get?
7.1.
7.1. You guys might try and plug that in your calculator, make sure you know where he's getting that. 0.07, what came after that? 1/4. So if you move the decimal twice, it's 7.4 is not big enough to round that up, so 7.1. Percent, yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Okay, number 16, Case, what we do on that one?
You do 280 minus 200, which would give you 80, and then you do 80 divided by 200,
Yeah, I think we're okay.
which would give you 40%.
So there's kind of a lot of these, aren't there? I think there's one more. Maybe a little bit overrepresented. Brianna, up 17. What have we been doing now? Doing right later. We've been doing then change divided by original. So how do you find the change? You subtract to find out how much it changed. That. Okay, then what do we do with that? Divide by the original, 3,500. First. All right, has anybody plugged that one in yet?
Should equal 22.9.
Huh?
22.9.
22.9%. All right, that's the last of those kind.
Why 3,500? So we divide by the second one.
You divide by the original.
Dang it.
which is the first one.
Doing it wrong sometimes.
Okay, these are all a little bit different. Okay, find the total to be repaid on the loan. You guys remember interest?
No.
How do we find interest? Principal times rate times time. You just multiply the stuff together. So that would be 6,000
Times.
times what?
40.
No,
400.
no.
0.04.
0.04 times 3. Let's see, what does that come out as? 240, 720.
It's like,
Okay, that actually is not the final answer.
what?
Okay, if you borrowed $6,000, does it make sense that you'd only have to pay back 720?
No.
AJ? Okay, this is called the interest. But the way they asked it is what's the total to be repaid? So how would we figure out what we have to pay altogether?
Add the interest to the.
Right. Add the interest back to 6,000. So you'd add this to 6,000. Whoops.
America.
AJ, did you get a piece of paper out? You should be doing this.
Mr. Jordan.
Get a piece of paper out.
Who do you think would win in a fight, George Washington or Abraham Lincoln?
Lincoln was a famous wrestler, so.
And we can. George Washington was 60.
I'm almost 6.
What is with all the people that can make so tall?
I don't
Are you good, Corbin? Are you able to play? Are you able to play? Who would win? Theodore Roosevelt? They're both boxers.
Okay, this one, how did we find commission?
Interest.
Yeah, Jonathan.
The sales times 0.12.
Right, again, it's multiplying, lots of multiplying going on, right? So you just take how much they sold times the commission rate, which is 12%, so 0.12. That would be it. All you have to do is multiply.
Really? Is that only it, or do we have to do more after this?
That's it. 1,000 what?
518. Mr. Jordan, do you stay after school?
Sometimes.
Bro, actually, shut up.
He's just trying to figure out the price.
No. Do you hear the people in that classroom screaming?
Bro.
Sometimes, yeah.
No.
It's okay. All right, and then there's 4 that are kind of like this: markup and discount. I think we're gonna make it. All right, this is not the exact same as the last problem. So, how do I move a price? How do I move $52.50 up by 15%?
Divided.
No.
Dang it.
Multiply by 0.15, and then you add it.
Right. When you multiply by 15%, that will give you the markup. Like, that's how much the price is gonna go up.
Retail price.
When you add it back to this, that will tell you the new increased price. So what is 15% of 52.50?
7.8.
Okay, now we're talking about money, so where should we probably round it to?
I don't know. 7.9.
No?
4.80.
Okay, we should round it to the 1 cent place, right? That's where money goes to. So this would be the markup. I could give you half credit for just this part. And then to find the retail just means the new price. Don't worry too much about the lingo. just add this back to the original price to get the final answer. 60.38. So there's two steps. Multiply to get the markup and add the markup back to get the total, final price, retail price.
Could you go back up to 19?
Alright, 21's kind of the same thing. So Leah, what should we do on 21? Multiply. Now if it's 30%, what should I multiply by? 0.30? Or you can do 0.30 or 0.3. It'll give you the same answer either way. Somebody plug that in. 1042. Since we're talking about money, you should go to the second decimal place because that's the 1 cent place. Okay. If you get that much just by multiplying, I'll give you half credit. But let's go ahead and go for full credit and add that back to the original. Doesn't make sense that if it's marked up, it'll go up to 1042. That's actually lower. So you have to add it back. Okay. This is discount. So same thing but in reverse. Almost identical, but the price is going to drop. So Abby, what should we do on 22? Huh? Nope. Okay. You still figure out 40% of this. You multiply, but instead of adding the new money, you're going to subtract the new money. Discount means the price is going to go down by that much. So let's see, what is that? $96.
I could dunk on the wrong things.
Quiet, Brian. Okay, so $96. All right. $96 is the discount. So we're going to drop $96. Okay. And really both of those are the answer. $96 and final price $144. All right, Brooke, how about 23? Times 0.2 or 0.20? $1.50. Then what do we do with the $1.50? Last one. Save the best for last.
Holy cripes. Oh my.
Okay. On the worksheet, what did we do first for these problems? Arrows. And basically there was kind of two kinds. There was the kind where the arrows were the same length, and then the other kind where they added together to make a big, the total length. Not if you study it.
Yeah, it is factory.
Okay,
Nice foils.
a train is heading west. On a map, which way is usually west?
Left.
Left. And then the other train is leaving Chicago at the same time heading
Quarterback
east.
at the goal.
Shh. Um, okay, shh, listen. The other one's heading east, so they're going in opposite directions. What did we put for each of these lines?
3 times T.
An R and a T, a rate and a time, speed and a time. Okay, it says the eastbound train is going 10 miles an hour faster. So what do I do with that? Right, that's not a speed. The train's not going 10 miles an hour. It's going 10 faster than the other one. So this one's rate, I'm going to call R plus 10. This one will just stay at R. After 5 hours, the two trains, so where am I going to put 5 hours? Okay, that's their times. So they both get a 5. The two trains are 640 miles apart. Where does 640 go? All the way across. I usually draw it like that. Okay, we've got 3 distances here. The westbound train's distance, the eastbound train distance, and the total distance. What's the relationship between these 3? Shh. No, they're not the same. The westbound train, or the eastbound train is going faster. This distance will be longer. They're not the same. But you put their 2 distances together, like they're heading away from each other, and that'll give you the total distance they are apart. So this plus this equals that. Okay, the question is find both of their speeds. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit through the algebra. Okay, we get 10R equals 590. You guys know what 590 divided by 10 is? Okay, what does 59 tell me?
The other train's gonna be going 69.
This is the speed of the westbound train. Okay, it's 59. This train is going 10 faster, so yeah, you'd have to add 10 to it. So the other train's going 69, that's the 2. All right, test tomorrow.